Hey, I have a passage from 1 Peter 4 that during a really challenging season of my life was so helpful for me. I don't know if you deal with any ongoing physical ailments, but there was a season of my life in high school where for a period of a few years, my body just kept getting more sick and more sick and more sick. And it was a really challenging time. I remember speaking to God and being like, what are you doing? I mean, I could serve you in so many ways, and I could just be more focused on your kingdom if you would take away these ailments from me. And during that time, I read this passage, and even though I didn't know what was going on with my body or what my future held, it was so encouraging and helpful to me. So 1 Peter 4, verses 1 through 2 says this: "Therefore, since Christ suffered in his body, arm yourselves also with the same attitude, because whoever suffers in the body is done with sin. As a result, they do not live the rest of their earthly lives for evil human desires, but rather for the will of God." That verse was so encouraging to me. He who suffers in the body is done with sin. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of sin in me. I have a lot of sin that I, on a daily basis, struggle with. And it was so encouraging to me in that season to realize that as my body is suffering, there is something going on in my soul that is making me live for God and live for his good instead of my own comfort and my own pleasure. Is the process easy? No. Is it literally a crucifying process where I'm getting rid of my flesh and I'm exalting the desires of God in my life? Yes, it is not a pleasant process, but it was so helpful for me to know that while God did not cause this suffering in my life, he is a good God and he will redeem the suffering and he will not waste the suffering. There will be purpose if I simply yield myself to God. I can look back on that season of my life and see all that God did, especially in the area of my relationships with others. All the time, I was just struggling and battling and wanting what I wanted and having a hard time connecting with others. But in that season, as I was in extreme discomfort, I learned to quiet my own self and really pay attention to the hopes and the dreams and the desires of others. And it taught me an ability to be present with others. That is part of what God did in the midst of my physical suffering. So as you are going about your day, if you struggle with an ongoing physical ailment, I want you to know God did not cause it, but he is a good God and he will redeem your suffering. There is purpose in it. If you yield yourself to God, he will use that physical suffering to rid yourself of fleshly desires, perhaps even connect you to other people and live in a better relationship with our God. That is encouraging to me, and I hope it is encouraging to you.